Statues, the man said. Living statues that moved in the dark.
Oh my goodness.
I asked him why he didn't go look himself.
Ooh.
He didn't answer.
The biggest statue of all. Great photography here. Look at this. I've seen a really similar statue before. I mean, in Blink, it's the exact same pose, isn't it? I'm certainly enjoying the noir tone. Yeah. Look at that. Statue of Liberty again. Oh my goodness. Imagine. Oh my god. Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is quite the hook. I like it. I like this setup. Whoa.
Who are you?
It's him, isn't it?
Coming for you. You gotta be kidding me.
Is that? Yeah, I was gonna say, is that the Statue of Liberty? Jesus.
She's got ice in her heart and a kiss on her lips and a vulnerable side she keeps well hidden.
Oh, you read it?
You read it aloud and
Ah.
you went yow. Why did you do that?
Oh, I always rip out the last page of a book. Then it doesn't have to end. I
Ah.
hate endings. As
Yeah.
I crossed the street, I saw the Thing guy, but he didn't see me. I guess that's how it began.
The thin guy, eh? Oh, it's this spot. Jeez, that's not ominous at all. Beautiful shot, though.
He said, I just went to get coffees for the
Oh,
doctor."
yeah. I was gonna say, it's starting to sound... Ah!
Hello, Dad.
Where am I?
How does that work?
I don't know. We're in New York.
Whew.
April 3rd, 1938.
He got displaced in time.
You didn't come here in the TARDIS, obviously.
Yeah.
Once we know what's coming, it's written in stone.
Set in stone. Oh. Hey, man. Take it easy. Oh.
You last longer with these.
Oh, great. Now, once that match goes out, yeah. Yeah. Ah, keep it together. Oh, you can hear little footsteps. Could be right up in his face. Oh, wow.
It means, Mr. Grail, just you wait till my husband gets home.
Ah. Whoa,
Sorry I'm late, honey. Traffic was hell.
man.
So where are we now, Dr. Song? How's prison?
Oh, I was pardoned ages ago, and it's Professor Song to you. Turns out the person I killed never existed in the first place. Apparently, there's no record of him. It's almost as if someone's gone around deleting himself
Yeah,
from
I saw that
every
prequel.
database in the universe.
You said I got too big.
Didn't you used to be somebody?
Weren't you the woman who killed the doctor?
Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Doctor, what is it? What's wrong? Tell me. Doctor,
Stop reading.
Doctor, what is it? Tell me. Okay, I know that face. Calm down. Calm down! No! Talk to me, Doctor! No!
So it is broken after all?
When one's in love with an ageless god who insists on the face of a 12-year-old, one does one's best to hide the damage.
Hmm. Whoa.
No, stop that.
Wow.
Stop it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, let's see, shall we? That was a stupid waste of regeneration energy. Never let him see the damage. And never, ever let him see you age. He doesn't like endings.
Oh.
Rory! Rory!
Amy.
Oh, okay, good.
Doctor,
Shit.
look at this. Why is it smiling?
Yeah. Oh,
Amy. Rory! Get out of here. Don't look at anything. Don't touch.
Who's that?
Oh my god, it's gonna be older Rory.
Amy. Amy.
It's going to happen.
Amy.
I'm sorry, Rory. But you just died. This place is a farm. A battery farm.
Tuh.
Okay. Well, they haven't taken me yet.
It's going to happen though.
Well, if I just get the hell out of here, then that never happens.
It's already happened, Rory.
I won't let them take him. That's what we got.
The power of love.
Better get started.
Eh.
Husband, run!
I'm not sure this can work.
Husband, shut up.
Yeah.
But there's a way out.
What are you doing?
Hold on, hold on.
Rory, what are you doing?
Whoever said that this place would be erased from time never existed. If this place never existed, what did I fall off?
You think you'll just come back to life?
When don't I?
Rory!
And anyway, what else is there? Dying of old age downstairs, never seeing you again. Amy, please.
If it was me, could you do it?
To save you, I could do anything.
Together?
Together. Or not at all.
What the hell are you doing?
Changing the future. It's called marriage.
Amy! Amy!
Oh man.
What's happening?
Yeah, his grave. It was here earlier, right?
In a graveyard.
This happened last time. Why always here?
Does it matter?
I think maybe it does. I think maybe it does, Doc.
I want to go to the pub right now. Are there video games there? I love video games.
Right, family outing.
This
then.
angle though. Yeah.
Amy, come see this.
No,
There's a
don't.
gravestone here for someone with the same name as me.
Doctor!
Where the hell did that come from?
It's a survivor. Very weak, but keep your eyes on it.
Where's Rory?
Oh. He's gone.
I'm sorry. Amelia. I'm so sorry. What are you doing?
That gravestone, Rory's. There's room for one more name, isn't there?
What are you talking about? Back away from the edge.
The angel, would it send me back to the same time to him?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
But it's my best shot, yeah?
No!
Doctor,
My
shut up!
God.
Yes, yes, it is!
Amy!
Well then. You look after him. And you be a good girl and you look after him.
You are creating fixed time.
Brackety man! Goodbye!
Oh.
No!
5 years later. I don't know, man.
Don't travel alone.
Travel with me then.
Whenever and wherever you want.
But
But not all the time. One psychopath per TARDIS, don't you think?
So know that we lived well and we're very happy. And above all else,
Know that we will love you always. Tell her this is the story of Amelia Pond. And this is how it ends.
I finally got my answer to it. It was going to happen sooner or later, right? They had to sign off somehow. I kept hoping it was going to be more of a... Actually, you know, let's talk about it. All right, folks. I mean, the last segment of that episode is really quite draining. It really is. You know, that's the goodbye. That's it. And you know, I knew it's got to be around the corner at this point, and it ended up happening in this episode, right? Because I know all about, like I mentioned before, I know all about Jenna Coleman being a companion during Series 7. So yeah, you know, perhaps I know now that I have a bunch of prequels to check out, right? And I'm going to do them. I'm going to check them out. And then apparently there is a mid-series Christmas special. So perhaps that is going to be effectively the bridge from, you know, this set of companions to the next companion, right? Who I've seen already in this series, Series 7, Episode 1 as Oswin. But, you know, Jenna Coleman's return, it's imminent. At this point, it's imminent. And then, of course, you know, they kind of really lean into the whole, you know, the Doctor needs someone. He needs a companion. You know, that he should not be by himself for too long. He should not be traveling alone for too long. Of course, you know, both Amy and River Song reiterate this, don't they? And how about River Song in this episode? I mean, she is an absolute rock for the Doctor. And the Doctor needed that. He needed River Song. You know, he doesn't even know it. He didn't even know it, but he so needed River Song here, right? Like, at one point, she's lost her parents, right? Effectively, actually, I was about to say the last time she sees them, but no, clearly she is going to see them again at some point, right? She has to hand off the book, essentially, so it can be published by Amy or written by Amy and then published. So she is going to use the vortex manipulator and go back and see them. Now, couldn't the Doctor also kind of use that method to go back and see them, you know, kind of borrow it? I mean, listen, if you start digging, there are plot holes. Listen, if you start digging, you can totally see a path that the Doctor could potentially take to Amy and Rory, right, in that time era, in that time period. But, you know, that's not really the point. The point is this was meant to be their goodbye, you know, them being written off the show. But yeah, you know, even as it's playing out, you know, I'm thinking of so many possibilities in terms of, you know, the Doctor doesn't even have to go directly to New York. He could just kind of go a little bit outside of New York and then, you know, figure something out. If he truly, really wanted to see them again, it's doable, right? It is doable, I think. Unless it is airtight, you'll have to really explain that to me, because it doesn't feel like it's airtight. Some of the, you know, the fixed point elements of this, but ultimately you have to kind of overlook a lot of that, because the main function of this is to say goodbye to Amy and Rory, and I'll do that. You know, I'll certainly do that here. And I think, you know, all things considered, it actually is, I don't know, you could even call it a bit of a happy ending for them, right? Yes, you know, they're kind of displaced in time. They'll never see Brian again. And, you know, Brian is someone I really, really feel for in all of this, really. You know, just last episode, you know, it's even more ominous now, right? That the line of dialogue, bring them back safely. As Amy and Rory look on, right, and turn their backs and go into the TARDIS. You know, Brian is the person I really feel bad for here as well. You know, because he was the one who implored them to continue, right? Continue on your travels with the Doctor. Now, of course, you know, I'm not blaming Brian, but, you know, imagine Brian finding out. Though, of course, you know, like I mentioned, it's not, again, all things considered, it's not some sort of, you know, deeply heartbreaking ending for them. I mean, it's heartbreaking as a fan to, you know, say goodbye to them. It really hit me hard. You know, that final segment really hit me hard, because then it really started to set in, oh, okay, now I'm really saying goodbye to them, right? This is it. This is a point of no return, essentially. This is truly the end game. And the tears start flowing at that point, But ultimately, as long as they're together, everything's fine. And, that's how Amy saw it as well, right? And, I mentioned the love River Song has for the Doctor. I mean, once again, this episode reiterates the love these two people had for each other, or have for each other, right? I mean, as of that point, both of them have kind of passed on, right? And you see that Amy actually kind of outlives him by 5 years. So yeah, she spends a bit of time by herself. So ultimately, it does kind of make you feel almost at ease that, okay, or knowing that they actually spent a few more decades together. Yes, maybe in a bit of a strange time era. And of course, there's a logistics element, right? Citizenships and, all of that, and how you get around that and how you kind of establish yourself. And, of course, you have to survive and you have to work. So there's all of that, stuff you could think about, the off-screen stuff, right? So yeah, of course, there's challenges, but ultimately, as long as they're together, there is this element of, okay, I'm good. I'm at ease. They're together. A truly heartbreaking ending. I think a truly heartbreaking ending would have been them being separated. And they kind of confirmed that to us somehow, right? That yes, Amy takes the leap of faith. And once again, who's there to kind of implore or kind of, give Amy that push? River Song, right? She's the one. Yes, no, this is how you can meet him. This is how you can be together, right? And on the flip side, you see the Doctor's reaction. Yes, it's heartbreaking, but it's also a bit of a selfish one, isn't it? Right? He's begging her to stay. He's begging her to come back. Come back to the TARDIS. Don't do this. Don't do this, because he knows this is the last time he'll ever see her again. In that sense, and I suppose rightfully so. I guess because the relationship the Doctor and Amy have is really quite a special one, and they do a great job of kind of reestablishing that or reiterating that in the Power of Three in the last episode. But I felt like he didn't care too much for Rory in this situation, right? Even as they jump off, and I'll get to that rooftop scene, the suicide pact. Oh my goodness, that scene, I was kind of rendered speechless. It was so gripping. It's so gripping. I mean, this final stanza of it, I feel like I was really just sat here, just not saying much, It's such a lovely touch. It really is quite perfect to sign off, to end that fairy tale, bring Amelia Pond's fairy tale to its end, or, bookend it perfectly by, showing us Amelia Pond, young Amelia Pond, right? This is the story of Amelia Pond. I thought that was beautifully executed. It really was. And, it really tied it back nicely to 11th Hour, didn't it? Wrapped it up nicely. That moment, I've always, I've brought it up before. It's always been a bit of a head scratcher. That moment, young Amelia, is just kind of still hanging out in the backyard. And, it's morning now. And then, you hear the TARDIS. She looks up, she smiles, and it fades to the next scene. And that's older Amy Pond, waking up from a dream. And I finally get some closure on that moment. It was actually Amy herself who implores the Doctor to go to that young girl, right? To go to that moment, to be with her, right? So I thought that was great. But yeah, I must admit, I was a little bit, not upset, but I was a little bit sad that the Doctor didn't seem to have that much concern for Rory. But, going back to River Song being an absolute rock, how about her holding eye contact? How about her just looking at the angel, making sure that she keeps looking at the angel so the Doctor, the Doctor is in no condition to hold himself together, right? He was in no condition to be looking at the angel. But River Song, she's there for him. She was there for him. Even in that moment as her parents are kind of being flung, back into time, she's the one who kept it together, right? She's there so the Doctor could mourn, so the Doctor could have that moment. And how about Matt Smith, right? How about Arthur? How about Karen? I think both of them, it's some fantastic performances on display for sure. But the Doctor, that, oh my goodness, that hurt. Seeing him like that. Matt Smith once again, really selling the moment, really making you feel the moment. And then, of course, that somber tone inside the TARDIS later on, you see it in his face, man. I've said it a few times now, but his physical acting is just top notch, isn't it? He doesn't need to say much to sell the moment, right? To communicate. The eyes do a lot of the talking, right? The expressions do a lot of the talking. So yeah, a lot of great performances, I think, all around. Now that Amy and Rory have departed, I've got to say, there is a bit of a glaring omission here in terms of things that could have been explored much further, right? And I'm speaking of the relationship that River Song has with her parents, or, the lack thereof, essentially. I think that's a big miss. That's been a big miss here. It's been barely explored, the mother-daughter relationship and that really unique dynamic, right? Having your daughter be essentially older than you, right? Or at least be a grown-up, right? And the challenges and the really intriguing and interesting aspect of that, right? There's barely any father-daughter moments. It really is quite surprising that, there's just no focus on that. But I do feel like that's a bit of a glaring omission, that potential focus. I feel like there's just so much to explore there thematically. And it just wasn't really even given much thought, I think. In that sense, this is another element or aspect that does kind of let the character of River Song down, doesn't it? And again, it kind of has to go to the writing in that sense. But, all of that aside, I think this episode is a great episode for River Song. It really is. I enjoyed River Song in this so much. I really did. That moment, the broken wrist, you see there that she does want the doctor to listen, to, work towards potentially seeing her hurt, right? Or being okay with her being hurt. But of course, the doctor doesn't really, he kind of does the opposite almost. And he goes ahead and uses some regeneration energy that, again, River Song was really quite upset about. He just goes ahead and fixes her. He fixes the problem and kind of looks the other way, essentially, right? As to not deal with the deeper issue underneath. And of course, earlier on, they also established that the doctor hates endings. He hates to see companions hurt. He hates to see them grow old, right? There's a lot of issues, a lot of things that he's developed over time. River Song seems to have quite the handle on it. And she tries to kind of tippy-toe around him, and even maybe help him face the situation and kind of understand it and kind of embrace it. But no, he ends up getting smacked for it, and she kind of storms off, quite annoyed as well. But you see that even the doctor himself is quite frustrated in that moment. Now, in terms of the angels, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. The Statue of Liberty angel, super silly. Just really, really silly, right? And once again, it's one of those things, once you start digging into it, plot holes, and it really falls apart. But, let's kind of leave it at that. Really just quite silly, isn't it? But the angels as a whole, listen, they're at their height in Blink. It's never been the same since. Since then, every single time they've been on screen, it feels like a diluted product, right? Or a diluted force, essentially. But I think in moments throughout this episode, they are quite effective still, especially during the cold open, right? I really quite enjoyed that. I think that actually could stand on its own as this short story, this noir, atmospheric short story. Great use of the score, great photography, the hard-boiled detective noir approach to it all. I felt the angels are really quite effective in that sequence, especially up in those apartments. That idea is, it's decent, isn't it? Them having this temporal battery farm essentially, in that hotel, and it really is the perfect location, isn't it? The corridors. You're forced to essentially look in the other direction. You simply have to at some point, and then they get you, right? So that element, I thought that was decent. It was. But it kind of takes us through the whole process and the things that are going to be at play, throughout the episode. So I think it was really quite an effective cold open. But I kind of wanted to shift the focus back to Amy and Rory, or Rory or Arthur specifically in this case, and I'm speaking of the rooftop scene, right? The suicide pact. Even before he gets to the rooftop, oh my goodness, running into older Rory. So in that sense, a version of our Rory does get displaced in time, and he does spend decades in that room and dies in the most heartbreaking fashion, seeing Amy right at the end and passing on. And then, of course, our Rory and the doctor's reaction to that. Oh my goodness, right? Ooh. Earlier I mentioned, maybe the doctor didn't show a lot of concern for Rory. Maybe because he thinks Rory is going to just land on his feet, as he always does. Rory can look after himself. Maybe there's a bit of that. But you see, oh my goodness, Matt Smith really sells it, doesn't he? That immediate reaction to kind of clocking the situation. He has to kind of turn around. He cannot even bear to look up, right? He can't bear to look at them. He's got his head in his hands, essentially, or in his lap almost. And then once he does turn around and tell Rory, oh my goodness. And I feel like Arthur in that moment, great acting. And then, of course, up on the rooftop, you feel just how scared he is, right? But even in the face of that fear, he holds strong, right? That's the Rory I've known throughout this series. It was beautifully acted. It really was. Both Arthur and Karen, in that rooftop scene. And I loved how, for the most part, it's just them two, right? The major decision happens before the doctor can even kind of show up on scene, right? Or show up on the scene. So I love that. That they made that choice. They made the decision. And of course, I love that moment as he tells her, to save you, I could do anything, right? That was a wrap. Amy hears that, the tear comes out and she's like, no, this is it. I'm going to jump up there together, right? Together or nothing. I love that. I think that rooftop scene, that suicide pact, I think that perfectly encapsulated the love they have for each other. And it's beautiful. I think it really was beautiful. And that I think, that slow motion shot of them falling down, I just thought it was beautifully captured. Them embracing as they're falling to their death, essentially. Because ultimately, at first, they do have to die. And then that kind of triggers the paradox, right? So I thought that was just beautifully executed. It's really quite evocative imagery, isn't it? Heartbreaking imagery. All of it. It was good. It was good. And you see that true character is being expressed through a choice and dilemma, right? Both of them are kind of put in that position, later Amy. No hesitation. The moment she sees Rory disappear, get displaced, and how heartbreaking was that, right? Though they are looking at the angel, or maybe, Amy wasn't directly looking at the angel as Rory gets displaced, but yeah, true character is being expressed through a choice and dilemma, right? The greater the pressure, the truer and deeper the choice to a character, right? So you see it on display. But yeah, ultimately, I think it effectively writes Amy and Rory out of the story, wraps it up nicely, I think. Like I said earlier, all things considered, it's not the saddest ending for them in the grand scheme of things, as long as they're together, right? I think, it offered a lot of poignant touches throughout the episode, right? Emotionally resonant. And as a whole, like I mentioned earlier, yeah, it wraps up the Amelia Pond fairy tale nicely, right? Bookends it nicely, doesn't it? Both Amy and Rory left their mark, right? Both of them had great moments in these past 3 series. And I think both of them have had some fantastic growth over that time span. And I think they've played their part in helping the Doctor grow as well. They've left their mark on the Doctor. I suspect the Doctor is going to be in a bit of a funk for some time, surely. It's not going to be easy to move on. So, in terms of the future of Matt Smith's run of the 11th, the near future perhaps, it'll be interesting how he handles it, especially, him not traveling alone, being stressed over and over once again. So let's see how he kind of finds the right balance for that, and how Jenna Coleman's Clara kind of comes into all of this, right, gets introduced into all of this. I think it'll be something special. It has to be something special, for sure, right? In terms of her reintroduction back into the mainline story and into the Doctor's life. But yeah, that's about it for this episode, folks. Yes, I'm certainly going to miss Amy and Rory. Like I mentioned a few times now, I think the Amy, Rory, and Doctor trio is perhaps kind of like the gold standard in terms of the relationship. That companions and the Doctor can kind of create over the span of their travels. I think it'll be a tough ask to have that type of relationship develop once again. They're family. They became family essentially. So yeah, I'm certainly excited for new companions, but I'm certainly quite sad to see Amy and Rory go. And I'm sure I'll be checking out Series 5, Series 6 all over again. Any chance I get, I'll definitely get back into it. Off screen, of course, but yeah, I'm already missing them. I am. But there's always that excitement of something new as well, right? Be it a new Doctor, be it a new companion, that's there as well, right? But yeah, that's about it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're interested in early access to the next episode right now, or maybe even full length, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description, in the pinned comment. Also links for social media, if that's your thing. Right then, that's about it for this one, folks. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your time. Time is precious, and I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.